I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
Smacking dudes with his 18-inch meat stick.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We're back. It's June. We got a big fight card ahead. I'm joined by the Sodsman himself. Looking forward to a potential Triple Crown winner this weekend, Mr. Colvin. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's I think it's gonna happen.
Didn't you bet against
it? Yeah, I put out a bet every year, man, and it hits almost. I've hit it like 4 out of 5 years. The Derby winner wins like the Preakness, but not the Belmont if they run. Man, it's just there's nobody in there, man. That horse is really fucking good, and there's just not much in the race, man. He's probably gonna do it. I don't think it's gonna matter too much though, man. It happened, a couple years ago for the first time in 40 years or some shit, 30 something years. And, I mean, it didn't really change horse racing too much. It's still kind of where it's at. You know what I'm saying? It's
not
kind
a
of
biggest
a niche
deal anymore.
It's just a niche gambling thing, man. It's more of a at the track kind of thing. I think it probably did bring in a few younger, people at the track, which that's what they try to get. They're not any kind of TV or any shit like that. But the track's still the same, man. I go to Churchill Downs, a few times during each meet, and there's the same amount of people over there. But yeah, should be fun, man. I'll probably have to buy out of that bet because I think he's probably going to win. It sucks because I fucking hit that shit every year.
Well,
and
it's been good in the long run. So I mean, it's not.
I mean, it's a different length race. I mean, things happen.
Well, it's you got to look at it like this. They're 3-year-olds, which is just a year after they start racing. They have to run 3 races in 5 weeks at 3 different tracks at 3 different distances. And this distance will be the longest distance that they'll ever run in their life. So winning the Triple Crown is pretty, it's a feat. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when all the other horses don't have to run the other races, right?
You always got new shooters, and that's what usually takes them out. And the Preakness usually don't get them. It's that third. It's running that third race in the 5th week and going that 1.5 miles is crazy. And you always have new shooters that come in there that are peaking. You know what I'm saying? That you can get horses to peak like. That it's kind of a 3-race kind of window to where you run them again in like 3 to 4 weeks, and then run them again in 3 weeks, and they're primed. And they usually face 4 or 5 horses like that in the Belmont this year. It just ain't like it. I think he's going to get them. Should be good.
Should be good indeed. Mr. Canada.
That's me.
Since I'll say West Canada, Mr. West Canada, New Sean. NHL Finals, obviously close to wrapping up here.
Yeah, bit of a sad time.
Do you care, or?
I care because I'm going to lose a bunch of money. I pretty much bet against Vegas other than the first series.
Sound like Lou.
Yeah, well, I'm not that big of a fucking mutt, but I didn't bet against them the first series. I've bet against them every other series and had a bunch of futures that basically anybody wins except them. And then it gets down between them and Washington, just the worst case scenario for me. I'm like, fuck it. They're a team of destiny. I'm going to bet them. And now they're going to lose. So that's fun times. But yeah, a bit of a sad time of the year, NBA coming to a close, NHL coming to a close, but, and the
Curry MVP probably going up in smoke last night.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough one. I'm going to make some cash on that just because I took the Golden State Warriors pretty big when they were to win the whole thing when they were against, Houston, so I'll still make some coin. But
I bet them to sweep the Cavs at some decent plus money. So hopefully they go ahead and close this shit out.
There you go. Yeah, and I got under 5.5. So
definitely.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Good times, but all of a sudden there's just a huge uptick in MMA. We got pretty much fights 4 days a week now.
Yeah. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep. So that's good time.
Greg Hardy's professional debut next week.
Good.
Huh?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, if you like to watch, I think it's all kind of the same level now anyway. When you're talking like UFC undercards of fight nights and PFL and Bellator, it's all about the same MMA. Now, give me a line on it, put it somewhere I can watch it easily.
Yeah, and it's summertime. Like if you got, I mean, if you're doing shit, then go do stuff. If you got nothing going on a Tuesday or Thursday, watch some Contender Series or PFL or whatever. It's more MMA to put on and more to bet on.
You know how much we used to love, like, I mean, back when I humped and did landscaping hard and stuff, man, back in the day, there was nothing like Tuesday night boxing and Friday night boxing. And it was usually just undercard type shit on USA and stuff, dude. That shit was awesome. I don't get why more people don't. I don't know. I guess a lot of us do, but you'll always have your ones out there that, get on Twitter, try to get a couple faves, retweets. More for us. Put a line on, like I said, put a line on it. Let me bet it.
Yeah, Wes hit a plus 350 that could have been a plus 1100 tonight.
Uh-huh. I mean, I only had $50 on it, but you figure that's a big ass swing.
Yep.
So I don't know if they would have let me put even that on it if it was plus 1100. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of limits they're rocking at those numbers, but
because those lines were moving like drastically, dude. Like I got Andre Harrison in at like minus 600 a couple small parlays, and he was minus 5,200 at one point. I think you said he's minus 4,800. That's just insane.
Yeah, seems correct.
They got some Scott Coker special feel going on to it. I don't mind it. from a betting perspective, I'll parlay them all up.
All right, well, that kind of gets us to our first word. Since it's new, it's fresh. Let's talk about PFL. What do you think of this format, this league format that they got going? So it's 6 points to win in round 1, 5 points in round 2, 4 points in round 3. If you win a decision, you get 3 points. And then just kind of the structure of the event thus far with the Facebook, and then I guess with the television to follow. I guess I'll start with you, Sean. What do you think so far?
It's interesting. I mean, we've kind of seen these league things and how they turn out.
Somebody always gets hurt, right?
Yeah, there's always. I mean, we have fights falling out so often that it's kind of a shit show. So we'll see how it is. I mean, they're getting some all right fighters. I mean, you got the party fighting tonight. You got Andre Harrison. A bunch of fatties that like to get sloppy, so there's nothing wrong
good
with
Russians.
That. Yeah, and some good Russians and things like that. So I don't know what it's going to become. It's interesting. I mean, they're supposedly going to give away $1 million, which is kind of cool if that actually happens. It's just something different. I think MMA's. I kind of like when something like they try to do something different. MMA doesn't have to be how the UFC does it. UFC is kind of like the bland, top of the line traditional fights, and then you get the weird shit. That's kind of why watching, like, we know that Ryzen's not peak MMA, but I mean, I'll get up and watch some crazy freak shows just because it's something different. So hopefully we see some good fights, some crazy finishes, and it'll be good enough for me.
I think that was part of the appeal of the. I mean, it's going back, and maybe not the most perfect example of like the ABA versus the NBA. That the ABA actually put out like, a little bit of a different product than the NBA did, and it attracted some different people for just being a little bit different.
Yep.
And then you hope that if something becomes that good, it could be merged in, or at least a couple of the rules, or some of the things they do can be incorporated into that premier promotion. Kind of like the XFL too with the NFL. There were some things the XFL did which were pretty neat. Different camera angles and just the way they sped up the game a little bit. It certainly helps. The NFL took a couple things. I guess we'll see what happens the second time the XFL comes out in a couple of years, but that's a story for another day. Wes, what about your thoughts on this new PFL promotion?
Yeah, I mean, first off, to touch on what Sean was saying, the UFC was, once it got so big and stuff, it kind of built itself on like the best fighting the best. You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. That was the top promotion. And I think now we've gotten to the point to where it's just, that's not the case anymore. You know what I'm saying? Rarely is that the case in the UFC now, to where you get, the best fighting the best. So, I mean, the UFC's kind of become almost, I don't know, it feels like it's old, it's bland,
Stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, it just, they're not innovative. That's why I think stuff like Sean said, just, if you mix it up a little bit, be the show, like UFC used to be the show, it gets viewers. And I mean, this, I like it, just kind of the structure. If they're going to give away that type of money, it rewards, fighters. It's kind of like what a lot of these ranking fanboys want, right? They want how you're ranked to be ranked and perform to fight each other. And that's how you move up. It seems like what they're trying to do here. That way too, if you have guys get hurt, fall out, you just move the next person ranked up, I mean, if they're paying that kind of money, it should be pretty fun. They're getting some decent fighters. I mean, I don't know who Ray Sefo has fucking, nude photos over at NBC, but I mean, that guy they keep some shit on it over. I don't know what the fuck, but I mean, he carried World Series over for fucking 7-8 years. And,
well, that might have been a time buy.
Yeah.
I don't know
know
if they're getting paid for that.
They're just, I don't, how people rate like ratings of fight cards now, I think, is people still trying to rate this stuff back 5-6 years ago when MMA was just booming. It's just not that anymore. People don't watch it like that anymore. It's so many cards, so many fights. You don't have to tune in for every one of them, and I think you see that across the board. So, I mean, if you can get 200,000-300,000 people to watch NBC Sports Network on a Thursday night, I mean, that's probably a win for NBC Sports to me. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll tune in to see Andre Harrison smash some dude, to see the party fight. I mean, they actually have a very nice roster of young lightweight Russian and Dagestanis over there that are really good fighters. So, yeah, I like it. It's just something different to me. I don't mind having, like I said, 4 fights on during the week. You don't have to watch them all, but I mean, hell, you get home from work on a Tuesday. What are you going to do? Go out and drink a few beers, or stay in, maybe invite somebody over and drink a few beers and watch some dumb MMA, bet $25 a fight or something. That sounds good to me.
Seems fair. I like the point thing. I'm curious to see how it plays out over time. Yeah, the roster's not terrible. I mean, this first fight card is at least somewhat interesting. I mean, there's some recognizable names. I mean, there's be some new talents. I mean, one of our favorites, Jambalaya Tuxedo in a main event. I mean, why not, right? Why not?
He's going to get murdered, but yeah, why not?
Fine. Why not? We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's a different option. It's fine. I think it's better than what the World Series of Fighting format was, which just ended up being like wrestlers, and that's all it was. And there's like so many fights that went to a decision, other than when Justin Gaethje fought. That was kind of a boring product. So at least try to do something different to stand out from these other promotions. I think that's pretty solid advice. So
keep Rochelle on Facebook like you already did.
God.
That's
man, Rochelle is the king of boring. He is the boring. Yeah, like how Justin Gaethje's the violence god. Jared Rochelle's the boring god. So our second our second thing to start off with is going back to last week's fight card, UFC fight card in, of all places, Utica, New York. Some interesting fights, but really the one that stood out was the main event. Interesting matchup between two guys who train in Jersey, Marlon Moraes and Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera hadn't lost in 10 years going to this fight. I think his last loss was literally in 2008. And it was 30 seconds, 32 seconds, and Jimmy Rivera was knocked out by a head kick and follow-up from Marlon Moraes. Big win. Nushan, how good do you think Marlon Moraes is? Can he win the bantamweight title?
I think he can. I think he's been underrated. I know Wes has been on the hype train. I know people kind of didn't think too much of him after his first two fights in the UFC, but those are really hard fights to look good against. He fought a Sun Sao in his first UFC fight. That guy, who has like impressive wins over a Sun Sao? I mean, Dillashaw, even though it was bullshit, lost to him. And then, I mean, he was pretty, it was a fairly impressive win for Dillashaw, but even then, people were kind of downplaying him and thought he should have finished him. And then Jaw Dodson, same thing. That guy can take a punch, and a lot of times not too much happens in his fights, and it's just really tough to look good against him. So I think after those two fights, people were kind of down. They're like, well, I mean, he was killing these guys in World Series. Is he even that good? I mean, he was 1-1, but not really doing much. And then he made Sterling dab and just absolutely crushed him with that knee. And then you got this 33-second finish of a guy who hasn't lost in 10 years. Like, back-to-back fights, incredibly impressive. I think you got to give him the next title shot after those two wins. I mean, Jimmy Rivera was for sure in line for a title shot before the whole rematch bullshit between Dillashaw and Garbrandt. So I think you got to give it to Moraes, and he seems like he's just on a roll right now. He's got all the skills. It'll be an awesome matchup, hopefully, against Dillashaw.
Wes, what do you think? I know you're a fan of Marlon Moraes, but Kenny, do you think he's a fighter capable of winning this bantamweight title?
Yeah, I'm starting to think so. And I don't want to say, being a fan of Moraes ain't like some big making some bold prediction. But I think a lot of people kind of wrote him off a little bit after that first UFC fight. And like Sean said, man, he's had 3 really good wins, man. I just think he's improving. You can see how he's getting better, man, in all aspects. And that's training up at one of the best gyms now, I think, out there, dude. He's training with some legit guys, got some of the best coaches in the world. Man, and I seen a lot of people on Twitter, man, that they were already kind of crowning Rivera, saying that he was the guy to win that title. You know what I'm saying? To be the next dude. I kind of saw most people picking Aljo against Moraes, matter of fact. But I think he should get that title shot. It's going to be a good one, man. And to add on just the other part of the card, man, Gregor is the fucking truth, man. That guy is one of the most exciting fighters. Most people ain't more. That dude makes it fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's almost like Khabib on top of a motherfucker, just smashing. Gregor's awesome. Love that dude.
He does take a lot of damage, though. It's weird. He fights, doesn't get hit at all, but somehow walks out with bruises and cuts. Like, where did those come from?
Some people cut easy. I mean, you look at GSP. That guy
he got tagged,
like a
though.
peach.
He got tagged, man, to get his eye fucked up. He got tagged a couple times good. He'll get better, man. I think his a lot of that head movement and shit, man, is trained over time, dude. It's timing. You got to train that shit. I think his defense will get better. It's going to have to if he's going to move up, because there's killers. Yeah, there's killers in his division. So he's going to have to improve, but I think he can. He seems, like I said that on Fight Night, man, I like the attitude of guys like that, man. Just get me in the gym, get me in the cage. None of that bullshit in between. He's not going to make as much money as some of these loudmouths, but I think he's going to be really, really good, man. I'm telling you.
I'll say this. Marlon Moraes will absolutely be rooting for Cody Garbrandt to win that title fight. Because I think if Cody Garbrandt wins, I think Marlon Moraes will be your next champion.
I agree. I agree with you.
I think there's a recipe there. The
TJ's
Dillashaw fight, it would be a more challenging fight for Moraes. It'll be fascinating to watch. And
he could catch TJ though, man. He could catch him.
That division has so much talent. Like I'm convinced now, featherweight and bantamweight have more talent, like top 15, top 20 than even lightweight does. Not everybody wants to hear that, but it's younger. There's very technical and variety. It's a pretty cool time in those divisions. Love watching the higher level guys.
And it sucks nobody will watch it. Like nobody wants to watch it. That's fucking ridiculous.
They're clueless.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we got a big fight card this weekend. UFC fight card that is in the land of Chicagoland. Some fascinating fights, big time fights, some goofy fights. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yes, it does.
The first fight on the card is literally like a half an appetizer, but after that, pretty much every single fight has something there to it. But we'll start with the first one. Danage, Mike Santiago. Did both of these guys come from the Contender Series? I know. I remember Santiago definitely did.
They both.
Yeah. So Contender Series bout, which I guess is kind of cool leading into next week's Contender Series event. Wes, what are your thoughts on this one?
Man, to be honest, I don't have much of a clue here. I haven't looked into this much. My initial thoughts was I think Edge could edge out a decision here. Just with his grappling stuff, I think the fight against Arce, the loss against Arce looks a whole lot better now after seeing Arce again, because I think that dude he might end up being pretty damn good. So yeah, I'm going to lean that way, but I'm not touching this fight with any money, and I'm going to look at it a little closer before I get my top master pick. Shameless plug, sitting in the top 10, and just a few points out of fifth for that, boys. Coming.
Interesting. New Sean, what do you think? Any insight on this one?
Not too much. Mike Santiago, the lucky guy who won a UFC contract on the Contender Series and then had to get murdered by Zabit. That's
that's not his only loss.
No,
he lost
he lost to Mads Burnell after that. But just what kind of shit is that? You're like, oh yeah, I'm in the UFC. Oh, I got to fight Zabit.
Wasn't that before we knew what Zabit was, though?
I mean, we still kind of knew who Zabit was at that point. Pretty sure he was a fairly decent sized favorite. Everybody kind of knew who he was, but yeah. As for this fight, I like Wes. I don't have much. I haven't looked into this. This is kind of the lowest part of this card. And so I didn't really take too much of a look into this. I'll pick Danage, but got not much on here.
Yeah, I got both these guys at D. It should be a fairly fun fight based on their style. Santiago is a guy who hits hard. I think he kind of impressed in the Contender Series, but I think he's been kind of lukewarm at best. In his two actual UFC fights, I think he's kind of underperformed. Just doesn't, just isn't able to put it all together. Idge, has a really good motor, can mix a bit of wrestling, will strike on the feet. He could be vulnerable in a prolonged striking exchange with Santiago, but I think he could take Santiago down, and score points that way. So I think it'll be a pretty high energy fight. And I just think Idge is a little more consistent, and I think that's the difference. Like I said, I think Santiago has some decent qualities, but just doesn't seem to be a guy who's able to, to rise to the occasion. For the most part, and kind of put some lackluster performances. So I'll take Danage to get the win here. Next fight up, we jump up a heck of a lot in quality and interest, which is pretty stunning. I have no idea why this fight is on this part of the card.
It's
literally makes zero sense.
The fuck?
What are we doing here? I mean, I get the UFC is not that desperate to sell. I mean, people will say, "Oh, they're trying to make a few extra bucks." I don't give them that much credit. Like sometimes they just throw these things together. Like I get they have 3 or 4 fights they want on this part of the card, but the other fights they just slap around and there's no rhyme or reason for it. This is makes no sense. You could have put this on another card later on and made it a co-main event, and everyone would have been happy with it. Yep. Some sort of fight night in Boise or wherever they're doing.
Absolutely.
So Blake Guida is taking on Bronx Charles
Bronx.
I should have asked Lance when I saw him yesterday about this fight. Actually, he told me that Du Bronx is the most entertaining fighter in MMA. So that's his take. You know who Lance is taking in this fight, and you know how he's going to pick him to do so. But let's hear your guys' thoughts. Wes, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, you either absolutely love Chucky Olives or you absolutely hate Chucky Olives.
Depends when you bet on him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've lost thought in Chucky too, and I still love it.
Wes, your audio's messing up just a tiny bit.
You hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Yes.
There we go. Keep going.
All right. Yeah, Lance has got a point, man. I mean, win or lose, he's always in some shit. You know what I'm saying? He's going to entertain you. Here, man, I just think I think he's going to get Clay with something. A lot of people say that old Chucky Olives, he's a quitter and all. I think he's taken his lumps in his last few losses. He stayed in there and fought. I mean, he almost got Felder with something. I was going crazy. Then Felder smashed him, of course, but I think he's going to get Clay with something here. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on Chucky by sub. You better believe it.
All right, News Sean, what do you think?
The last time a Du Bronx fight went to a decision was 8 fights ago. 7 straight fights have been finished either by him or his opponent. So that's not a surprise that Lance thinks he's one of the most exciting fighters there is, because there's always craziness going on in his fights one way or another. Guida's been more of a decision machine, other than when he gets tapped. He had a hell of a finish on Joe Lozon last time out. I guess the ghost of Joe Lozon at this point. It's gonna be tough. Guida definitely has got caught. He's got 8 career losses by sub. A bunch of them by guillotine and rear naked choke, the kind of Du Bronx specials. Du Bronx coming off a pretty hellacious finish from Paul Felder after he almost had him. I was on him in that fight, and I thought we had it locked up, just like West did, but that's the way she goes. Usually when Du Bronx gets you there, it's over. I think you gotta look. Fight doesn't go the distance. It's in the minus 225 range. I think there's going to be a finish. It's kind of win, sub, or go home for Chucky. Whether he's quitting or not, he's getting beat, and Guida's got a gas tank on him. So I think you look there. I'll pick Chucky Olives to get the sub there. Sub, he's minus 150. Sub is plus 130. Everybody expects him to win by sub if he is going to win it, but no bet for me, just because coming back from that pretty bad knockout. But I'll be cheering for him because he's a hell of a fun fighter to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I got Oliveira B- and Clay Guida C+. It's interesting enough fight. One thing I don't think people give Oliveira credit for is that his striking has actually gotten way better in the last couple of years. He's gotten more physically stronger. Even his offensive wrestling's gotten better. He's surprisingly taken down some pretty decent dudes. But I mean, this one would be a pretty hard task to take down Guida. But, I mean, you have to imagine Guida is going to be trying to take down Oliveira. And just at any point, Oliveira is dangerous to get a submission. It's super dangerous. Clay's been submitted before. We'll see what happens, but over 15 minutes, I just think Du Bronx is just too creative, too much, too talented from a striking, from a submission grappling perspective, not to find the neck or some sort of wacky finish. So I'll take Du Bronx to get the victory here. Next fight up, another good one. Top 10 fighters in their weight class. The return of one of my favorites. I don't know how he landed her. Joseph Benavidez.
We'll go down in MMA fucking legend of how Joe.
That is an incredible feat. God bless him. Taking on the other Pettis. Now you can possibly say the better Pettis, Sergio Pettis.
Yeah,
Wes,
at this point, it's probably correct.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say at this point. But they're throwing they're throwing the better Pettis, man, to pretty much the cream of the crop now, and I just don't think he's there yet, man. Honestly, the only thing that you got to worry about Benavidez here is, of course, the layoff and the injury. But man, I mean, Pettis might be a tiny bit better overall striker than Benavidez, but man, his boxing is just it's light years ahead of Pettis, man. And if Benavidez wants us to the mat, it's going to the mat, and the Pettis ain't getting him down. So yeah, I see Benavidez boxing him up here for 3 rounds. So yeah, I like Benavidez by decision, and I parlayed him in a small parlay.
you, Sean.
I like Benavidez to win here, but I can't bet it. Benavidez looked like he kind of took a bit of a step back, even though he won against Cejudo. I think most of us thought he lost. Then he goes and tears his ACL. He's been out. He hasn't fought in a solid year and a half. Actually, it's been long. A year and a half. I don't think much of Sergio Pettis. His wrestling is trash, just like his brothers. His striking is decent, but nothing too special. I think Benavidez could wrestle for a win here if he wants to. Flyweight, it is tough to keep a guy down. That's just the way it is. So he could always pop back up, but I still think, like Wes said, his boxing is better than Sergio's. But with that layoff, the torn ACL, possibly taking a step back in his last fight, I'm going to pass on a bet, but I expect him to get a fairly easy win, but just a little bit of red flags there for me.
I got Pettis a C+, Benavidez an A. The layoff definitely is a cause for concern, for sure. But in terms of just tools, Benavidez is so much more well-rounded. He can grapple. He's a very talented striker. I mean, Pettis is a talented striker, sure, but Benavidez definitely hits harder. Different types of angles, can mix in the takedown, has the submission game. I mean, he's a really well-rounded fighter. And this is a fight he should win, 8 times out of 10, I would say, at this point. He's way better. Pettis, hasn't proven that he could fight at a level that could potentially even challenge Benavidez. But again, long layoff. Nushon makes some pretty good valid points, to be a little more hesitant. After the fact, you might be like, well, why didn't I bet this? This was easy, but sometimes it's better to be, conservative.
Yep.
Yeah, leery, conservative. Sure. So that's my take on that one.
That minus 250 is, we're going to look back, it's going to be one of those lines like, man,
that definitely could be the case if he comes back and doesn't show any rust and
that's the way I'm playing
stuff
it,
like that. That's fair.
You're right. Yeah,
yep.
You're right. You're right though.
Fair. Next fight, interesting. Could be the end for one. Rashad Evans taking on Anthony Smith. I mean, we're talking about 2 dum-dums here. Well, well, that was interesting.
Oh shit! The racist winning his dog money, baby.
Racist dog. He's a racist rabid dog.
Nicholson knocking somebody out.
Was that that could have was? Were you on that news, Sean, too?
No, I didn't play any PFL.
Just Wes and I.
No, the whole room was.
I thought that was Platinum Mike's Perry's wife, like going up to Nicholson.
Jesus Christ.
You see that wacky lady, right? Is that Platinum?
Crazy.
Oh, there's that. No, is that Platinum Mike out there? Is he saying he's black again?
You betcha.
Oh, make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're doing it one dude at a time. Oh man, anyway. All right. All right, Wes. Anthony Smith or Rashad Evans? Does Rashad have anything left? Anything?
Look, man, Rashad's really done, man. Oh my God, hold on, yeah, we got to see. Oh my God.
Jake Hune had that Bisping look of disbelief in his face. He kind of looks like Bisping when he got up. Like,
that's a legit when the edibles hit right there, son. Look at that.
You're going to use that one for a while.
That
face when he got up.
Yeah, dude, straight up. That is fucking legit.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, man, how can you not like it? Thursday night, you're getting knockouts and finishes like this. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, let's back to the
program. What was I saying? Yeah, man, Rashad, dude. Shouldn't he have probably retired when he's losing to Dan Kelly and Sam Alvey and shit, man? Like a serious fall off, dude. And man, the one thing you can say about Anthony Smith, I know, like Jay, you said he's just, he's mookie as hell, man. But that dude's tough as hell, and I just can't see Rashad hurting him with something early and getting him out of there. And if Rashad doesn't do that, he's going to be in a world of trouble, dude. So I actually think Anthony Smith gets a second or third round finish here. I think Rashad's just completely fucking done.
Think that's possible. New Sean, you agree?
Ugh, man, Anthony Smith is minus 300.
He's a 3-1 favorite. Think about this. Let's put this in the context. Anthony Smith is a 3-1 favorite over a former UFC light heavyweight champion.
It's a bit terrifying.
It's hard to trust your money on him. Don't get me wrong there, but could you trust who would you trust your money on in this fight though? Like,
no.
Oh man, I think you run away and hide.
Yeah. Smith, I mean, he can take a beating fairly good and come back. He didn't come back in the Santos fight though, but that's a different animal there. Rashad just so shot. I mean, this fight is back up at 205, so maybe that'll give him a little more resurgence. I don't know. That didn't seem like that was the problem, but who the hell knows? I really can't see an angle in this fight. It doesn't go the distance, is minus 135, but
pass.
Yeah, like when's the last time Rashad's thrown something?
Yeah, like, you could see this getting really sloppy in the second and third. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know though. But I mean, like, when's the last time that Rashad's thrown a strike that could actually put out somebody like Anthony Smith? Like,
it's been a while.
He TKO'd Chael, but that was like more of a turtle up. Like, it's been a while since he's thrown. Like, it might be Chuck Liddell. Like, we might be going back that far. So I got nothing on this fight. I'll pick Anthony Smith just because he's the younger, fresher fighter. But who the hell knows? It's let's just hope for something crazy to happen.
Yeah, I got Rashad D at light heavyweight, which is crazy, and I got Anthony Smith at D plus. I mean, there's a huge size difference here. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it's got to be like 6 inches, right? And probably like 5 or 6 inches in reach as well. Yeah. Rashad has been slow. He doesn't seem to have the knockout power anymore. Anthony Smith just has a lot he's pretty athletic. I think underrated from an athleticism perspective. And he's certainly capable of finishing people. I could definitely see
same reach, 3-inch height difference.
Crazy.
But
it doesn't.
Rashad's got some crazy reach, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. That doesn't even seem right. I'm going to take Anthony Smith. I think he may even get a finish here. I don't know why Rashad's even doing this. He should just hang them up or just take like a fight against like some other old retread and just do one of those. Do a testimonial, man. I mean, why not? But yeah, Anthony Smith gets the W. I'm going to guess by TKO. And it goes from bad to worse, but this could be fun bad. We got Rashad Coulter taking on Chris De La Roca, and if Bradley was here, he would be probably loving this. Wes, tell me about it.
First off, this fight is over Charles Oliveira against fucking Clay Guida and Pedersen Benavidez. Like, just to start this shit off. Man. Yeah,
these two are entertaining. Like, this is not a bad way to start a TV card. Because you're like, this is going to be sloppy, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, when you're getting knocked out by Chase Sermon and then dude's doing like freak fucking just crazy off the wall flying knees and shit on you, you're probably gonna be in some good shit. But yeah, dude, I mean, Coulter's like, man, he's 36. This other mook is like 40 or something, dude. Both of them getting fucking first round knocked out. Man, I don't know. I guess I gotta go with just a little bit younger guy, I guess. Yeah, Coulter. That's all I got there, man. I have no clue. You can't put any money on this. You're just insane. Unless it's something inside, just fight inside the distance. I don't see how this goes 3 rounds. But man, I have no clue here, honestly.
New Sean, I had a guy just ask me if Alex Nicholson is Mike Perry's brother. How should I respond to him?
Brother from another mother. That's what you should tell him.
Sort of, kind of.
He's in the same brotherhood.
Might be. All right,
they bought their sheets from the same store. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, I have no clue in this fight. It's pretty dog shit. It's perplexing to see this where this is happening on the fight card. Fatty's gonna Fatties is plus 135. Fight starts round 2 is minus 110. If that fancies it tickles your fancy, I don't know. I honestly might put like $50 on fight starts round 2 just for shits and gigs, and hopefully this gets sloppy and fatty and gross and fun.
I like it.
I'll take Coulter. He is younger, and he did take a good sized beating in that Sherman fight before they called it. So that's what I'll go with that.
All right. Take a deep breath here. I got Rashad Coulter an F, and I got Chris De La Roca an F minus. This has gotta be one of the. This is not the lowest grade fight on the card. Not the lowest grade. The second lowest grade. Nice. But everything I've seen from De La Roca. De La Roca is old and he's terrible. At least Coulter has some toughness. He can throw some heat. He's not very good. I mean, defensively he's not good, but I think Coulter has enough to win this fight. I really do. I mean, he's a better athlete, younger, better chin, more power. I mean, there's a lot here to get the win. But against anyone with any talent, I mean, he's a punching bag because defensively he's poor. But yeah, Coulter wins this. I think he may even get a finish, but it'll be fun until that finish. I could see it. It's going to be fun and sloppy, and that's what you want in heavyweight MMA at this point. Next fight up, I've been looking forward to for a while. Intriguing fight and a big opportunity for one of these guys. Mirsad Bektic, the J guy, taking on perennial contender Ricardo Lamas. Wes, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I think this is the Me and Jay, I think we both think Bektic is good. A lot of people do, but I think this is the fight that could test him. You know what I'm saying? And to see if he's that good to start moving up and fighting the upper echelon. I think Lamas is going to be a tough out. Now, that question mark, man, of how he's coming off a damn, just a one-hitter quitter knockout. That's why I'm definitely going with Bektic in this fight. I mean, that was just, I'm not sure if Lamas had been knocked out that bad in his entire career. So, but he has taken I think 6 or 7 months off. Still, I think Bektic's just the better guy here on the come up, and Lamas is on the way down. So, yeah, I like Bektic in this fight, and put him in a little parlay. I think at around minus 220 or something, right in there.
You, Sean, thoughts here?
I mean, we've all kind of been on the hype train that is Mirsad Bektic.
Have we? I thought it was my train.
Well, we hopped on a little bit later. I mean,
we jumped on with you.
I mean, he had a good.
You jumped
run
on the
there.
moving train.
And then we saw what happened in that Darren Elkins fight.
Nobody's beating Elkins.
Yeah, he's like, give me a title shot, bitch. Was it 6 or 7 in a row?
He's not that far away.
Seriously, no bullshit. He probably was. Yep. No bullshit. He probably one win away from getting a title shot. You couldn't deny the dude.
He already beat Jeremy Stevens. He beat Jeremy Stevens. I mean, who's he got to beat? I mean, at this point, if Ortega and Holloway fight each other, who else is there?
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
No one wants to see Cub fight for the title.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
so he is the Terminator. That is a tough loss when he had that in the bag and was absolutely just shit whipping him. But that fight kind of showed that his chin is gonna probably always be a liability. So I'm not gonna bet him here. I expect him to win. He has just so many tools. And then you got Lamas coming off that just brutal KO. He has taken time off, like Wes said, which is probably good for him at this point in his career. But Lamas is still a tough out, and he's got pretty good wrestling. I think he's going to make Bektic work on this one, but Mirsad's just going to be just a bit too much, and I'll pick him. But yeah, no bet at minus 250.
I got Lamas C+, Bektic a B. I mean, I really think Lamas is kind of on his way down. He was pretty much at a pretty flat level for 4 or 5 years, which is pretty incredible in this sport. To be, top 4, top 5, top 6 kind of a guy in the division for that long. But I mean, Emmett took him out. He doesn't have the offensive wrestling chops that, he probably had at one point as other fighters, bigger fighters have started to get into the division. With Bektic, you have a guy who throws real heat, really good athlete, one of the best blast doubles you'll ever see in this sport. The only concern about Bektic, in my opinion, is third round gas tank. He's usually really good for 2 rounds, and then, he can slow down a bit in the third. Lamas is a fighter who's got a good motor, and it could be a threat late in the fight if it goes that long. But we've also seen Lamas tagged and KO'd early in fights before, first round. So, you got to be a little bit weary there. So I'm going to take Bektic here. I think this is a fight that he can win and should win. I could see an early KO. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Fight I wanted 3 years ago, and it would have been a top 3 or 4 fight in women's MMA at the time. Now not so much, but still cool to see it nonetheless. Former UFC champion Carla Esparza facing off another J fighter, Claudina Gadella,
the booty,
one of the best in MMA, and one of the only fighters to ever give anything to Joanna. So Wes, what do you think?
Man, even though Carla's looked a little better lately, I think she got a couple of decent wins. I can't see her doing much here, man. I think this is going to be pretty much a mauling, man. Claudia's gonna smash her wherever she wants here, in my opinion. The line's gotten kind of out of hand, but we talked about it in our little chat a couple of days ago, I believe. I see Claudia finishing this fight. Her inside the distance is up to like plus 270 or something right now. I absolutely think that's worth a shot. And I also really like her points handicap. Her points handicap is like minus 240. I think that's excellent parlay piece. I think she finishes here, puts the smack down, and gets a third round finish.
New Sean.
I just have a extremely hard time seeing how Esparza is going to win this fight. Like,
I'm telling you,
her game is wrestling. She's not.
Well, how do you think the wrestling goes?
Claudia's going to absolutely
she gets mauled.
Toss her around.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, Esparza's never been tossed around though.
Yeah, but who has Esparza fought that's a good wrestler? Like, she hasn't fought. She didn't fight Andrade. Like, there's not really many elite wrestlers in strawweight, but it's like Andrade and then Claudia, in my opinion. And obviously, we saw what Andrade could do to Claudia, but I still think the wrestling gap is going to be big there. And striking wise, Claudia's got decent hands. Esparza's are pretty much terrible. The only question is Claudia going to get a finish or not? I think that's the only thing that's really up for grabs. Yep. Like Wes, I've been looking at the points handicap minus 240. It's a little bit high just because she maybe, I don't know how, maybe Esparza can steal one round on all the cards, but I think Claudia might sub her, or ground and pound her. I'm not too sure, but that inside the distance is looking nice for a sprinkle. I might just go that way. But yeah, this looks like one-way traffic to me. I've never thought much of Esparza. Claudia, even coming off that pretty rough beating from Andrade, I still think she is. There's a fairly big gap between her and the rest and whatever's below her, which Esparza is part of.
She'll want to show off in this fight too. I'm telling you.
I got Claudia as an A- and Esparza as a B-. I think the wrestling's actually kind of interesting because, I mean, Esparza really is one of the best wrestlers in this division. And I'd be curious to see if there is any grappling changes, just how they go, as I've never seen Esparza tossed around at all. It's just a matter.
Marcos bodied her.
Yeah, but Esparza got takedowns in that fight, if I remember correctly. But the real issue is that Esparza is her striking is so limited, and Claudia has the ability to hit hard. I mean, she's got she can throw. I mean, there's such a vast advantage there that there's a reason why the line ballooned. It's hard to see Claudia lose unless she completely gasses in the third and somehow gets on the ground and gets subbed. That's really the only way I could potentially see her lose this fight. And in terms of so I'll take Claudia to win. I think it's at this point where you have Andrade and then you have Joanna and Rose, and I guess that's kind of like that cream so far. And then Claudia is right around that level, and Torres I think is not far from that either. I'd be really curious to see how a Torres and Claudia fight would go. I think that would be really competitive. But maybe we'll see that at some point in the future. Next fight up, I believe this is the TV prelim headliner. I know there's been a lot of complaints about why this fight is there. That's an Overeem thing. So we got Alistair the Reem Overeem taking on a guy who's been really rising up this weight class, Curtis Blades. Wes, thoughts?
Man, it's still kind of crazy to see the Reem still trudging along, man. Especially after
ever.
I figured that the drug testing would just completely into all of that. But I mean, you look at it, I guess it's still heavyweight, man. And if you can hit like over him on or off the juice, man, you can take out a lot of these fat fucking slobs that are still running around this division. I just think, man, that Blades is on the come up, man. He's a young, hungry guy. He's got some good wins, man. I know he took some shots against Hunt, and you don't want to be taking those shots against Overeem. I think Blades was just trying to maybe not get cage time and get some ring time in that fight, but I don't think he was in there trying to, go all out and finish at all cost. I really like Blades in this fight, man. I think he gets it done. I got a little bit on him at minus 155. And I think we're going to end up being right, Jay. I think Blades and Hagano will end up fighting for a belt eventually one of these days.
Yeah, it's a matter of when Stipe loses, right? And who gets to be the guy to step up. That's going to be interesting as time goes on. New Sean.
I am on the other side as Wes. I think this is a fairly close fight. It is a bit scary, Overeem coming back from being decapitated by Haganu.
One of the craziest uppercut knockouts ever.
Insane. The one plus is that Overeem has come back and won after taking those knockouts in his career. They are adding up. He probably has a pretty long list of concussions, but he hasn't fought in 6 months. It's good to see. Blades, he's definitely hittable, and we definitely saw that in the Hunt fight. We even saw that a bit in the Oleinik fight. I've been on the Blades train. I just think this line's a little bit too high. I played Overeem at like plus 150. Just a small bet, like one unit. Overeem does have pretty good takedown defense. Blades doesn't really have like a blast double, like say, like Kane or like Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. He kind of just gets you against the fence and pulls you away. Overeem is really good against the cage, so I think Blades is going to have a tough time getting Overeem down, and if it's on the feet, I think Overeem has a decent sized edge. So I'll pick him at plus 150, and we'll see what happens. It should be an interesting fight to see where Blades is at in his career, and it's going to be interesting to see if Alistair can come back again from one of those vicious knockouts he's taken.
Yeah, he gets Hunt and Reem out of there back to back. That's two good wins against veteran, hard hitting dudes. You know what I'm saying? Hunt was pretty much on the feet too, so we'll see.
That's true. Good points. I got both guys at B. To me, this is a really interesting fight. Like Nushan said, Overeem is definitely a little bit harder to take down than, say, Mark Hunt. Blades was in trouble in the Hunt fight, but really took advantage of Mark Hunt's inability to stop takedowns and really dominated the fight in that regard. Scored a ton of takedowns, kept them down, just kind of smothered them. It was a smart decision. It was a smart game plan. But Reem is definitely going to be harder to take down, and just Reem's size overall is like is one of the few guys Blades is basically going to be like similar size to. In a UFC fight, so he can't like kind of big brother Overeem that much. I'm curious though, because Reem's chin is also a little wonky, and if he does get taken down, he could be in trouble. I lean towards Blades being a younger guy, and having I guess the takedown as a potential option, but I don't think it's going to be easy. This could definitely be. I could see this actually going either way. I'd like to see Blades actually get this fight. I think we're going to learn a lot about. I guess my point is, I think we're going to learn a lot about Curtis Blades in this fight. In terms of his career trajectory. So to me, this is kind of a watch and learn opportunity.
I think we did last fight too. I thought we learned quite a bit about him in last fight. If he can do it in back-to-back fights against two guys that are, hard hitters, keep it on the feet. He wants to get takedowns more in this fight, though, for sure.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that.
It's an interesting time in heavyweight. There's been some guys emerging, if you want to call it that. Blades, Derek Lewis a little bit, and Nagano. It's Volkov now. They're not young. I mean, Blades is young.
Another guy on the card later too. Got another.
Yeah, Tuivasa, sure. So you have some. It's not just 37-year-olds fighting anymore, which is so much better. Some new names. It's cool. I like this better than what the heavyweight division was, say, like 2 years ago. All right, it's time. The pay-per-view card, and it starts off with a bang.
Barn burner.
A barn burner indeed. Mike Jackson taking on Phil CM Punk Brooks. Wes, don't you dare tell me you're betting this fight. Don't you dare.
Man, look, I haven't at this moment put a dime on this fight. But, man, I tell you what, I just don't. I'm not going to. I'm just going to stay away from it, man. But I see the people that are putting their money on CM Punk, and I just how I just don't understand what there's no reason for it. And I see most people saying that I got no reason for it. It's plus money. I'm going to take a shot.
Smart.
You can't give no logical explanation of why you would put money on CM Punk in this fight. He's literally been in the cage for like 10 seconds. I mean, you have nothing. I'm definitely picking Mike Jackson here. I mean, the dude's literally got some fight experience. CM Punk looks like just those photos they was showing last week, Larry. He looks like a fucking heroin addict down on Skid Row, dude. Like, straight up. He looks like fucked up, man. Then all these things now about him going through a lawsuit and shit for the past year that was like getting all decided this past month or something like that. That's got to take a little bit out of you. I'm going to pick Mike Jackson here, but man, there's no goddamn way I can put a single dollar on this fight.
Nushan, don't waste my time with this one. Just make it quick and easy. And if you have a bet, God help you.
Yeah, no bet. I guess if you want to put some money on it, maybe play the over. Over 1.5 is around even money. These are two shitty fighters, and shit could get sloppy and terrible really quick, and it could go long, which would be terrible for everyone. So I'll pick Mike Jackson. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I got both these guys as an F minus.
There we go. That's the worst.
You could go a little deeper, but the body of work is so limited that you really can't. I mean, it's bad. Neither guy is good. CM Punk's just way older and had so many injuries. Even go back to his pro wrestling days. It's like, I mean, he can get injured literally walking out to the cage. I mean, it is in his hometown.
Like the drug testing hit him a little bit too.
Yeah, no,
like he looks like a tub of shit.
Yeah, none of this is good. I'll take the guy who's actually been training in MMA a little longer in Jackson, but I don't know and I don't care. So next fight, we got a heavyweight bout between actor Andrei Arlovsky taking on Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa, latest from the Oceania West. Is this a case of the young guy coming up and using an old man to get a win?
Man, and just saying it about Reem, Jesus, man, how the hell is Arlovsky still running around this sport, man? It's incredible, dude. Like, Arlovsky's one of the like OGs, man. Like, he was way, way back, dude. I don't know how he stayed around after I think he lost 5 or 6 in a row, and then
he bet himself, man.
5 in a row he lost.
Yeah.
Now he's on a 2-fight win streak. Wes, come on now.
Yeah, but he half a heart Struve. I'll give him beating diaper, baby. I mean that was a decent win, man. But
Mr. Depends, Mr. Huggies, that's right.
But I don't give him shit for that Struve win, man. This is just I think he's in bad here. Like really, I like Ty here, man. I think this kid could be pretty good, man. Outside of the crazy, the knee knockout, he looks like he's got some skills, man. He's one of those bigger guys, like you said, for Oceanic, that's not all like muscle bound and shit. That he's just a big fucking like what we call country strong looking dude, man. I like him here. I think he's going to start Arlovsky, to be honest, and I think this kid might end up being pretty good.
New Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, at the start of the year when we did kind of our picks for breakout stars, I picked Tuivasa. I think he's got some skills. He's got that chin from the down under that seems like it's really hard to crack. He put an absolute fucking mauling on Baby Dick last time out. I felt bad for old Sean Carey.
Oh yeah.
And then Arlovsky, this isn't a resurgence. I mean, just look who he fought. Look how the fights were. Tuivasa is not going to let that shit happen. This is going to be, I think, a fairly short fight. I expect Tuivasa to put it on him. One of my random books had totals up before like all the props came out. They had doesn't start round 3 at -182. I took that for 2 units. I think Tuivasa is going to get him before that. And then I've been looking at Tuivasa inside the distance. I think this is going to be a smashing.
That's sitting at -155.
Yeah, so I might
I got both these guys as.
Go ahead.
Right. I got both these guys as C-. I just think it's. I mean, Arlovsky definitely is way, is technically superior to Tuivasa, but I mean, Tuivasa seems to have an X factor. Weirdly athletic, super strong power. The guy has talent. And the difference between this fight and Arlovsky versus Albini fight is Albini is way more slow and plodding. Tuivasa is definitely going to come at him from like odd angles and kind of jump at him. That's where Arlovsky generally gets caught. He's kind of like wild exchanges. So I'll take Tuivasa by KO as well. All right, Holly Holm taking on Invicta featherweight champion Megan Anderson. She's been waiting to join the UFC for it seems like forever now. Wes, does she have anything for Holly Holm?
Honestly, I don't really think so. I think all the hype around her facing Cyborg was pretty much a joke. I think Cyborg would have just mauled that girl. I think this is a very good matchup for Holly Holm. Actually, I just don't see how she can't keep her normal distance here and just pick Megan Anderson off. I can't see Anderson getting Holm down here. Holm has outstanding takedown defense. I just don't think Anderson has the takedown ability that she's going to be able to get her down. Anderson's usually just much bigger than girls that she's fighting, and I don't think she's going to have much of a size advantage here. Holm's a really big fighter in this weight class. So, yeah, I think this is a Holly Holm special. Sit back and piece her up for 3 rounds. So I like a Holm by decision.
New Sean.
I think Anderson is going to have a decent size advantage. I've seen her a couple times in person.
She's 6 feet tall.
She's fucking big.
She's huge. He's huge, man. Yeah.
Whether that means anything in a fight, these guys are kind of both strikers. They're gonna just kind of throw and not look for takedowns. I don't know if it means too much. I think Megan Anderson has more power, obviously, but whether she can land clean on Holly, that's kind of a different question. Megan Anderson hasn't fought in a year and a half. That's not a good look. Holly did better than I think anybody ever thought she would against Cyborg.
As impressive as some of her wins, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, honestly, that is 100% true. I got nothing on this fight for bets. Probably goes the distance. Probably a boring Holly Holm pitter patter grunt fest, and that'll be a another boring fight, and then what? We're gonna see Holly Holm versus Cyborg again? I don't know. That's shitty. Fuck, I hate featherweights. Just, I don't know.
It is shitty.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. All right, so I gotta look this up again, but I have Holly Holm an A- and Megan Anderson B-. Let me just read this off to you. Tell me if you think this is the mark of a great fighter. So this vaunted winning streak that Megan Anderson had, 4 wins in a row, 4 TKOs. She beat something called Amber Laybrock, Amanda Bell, her best win, Peggy Morgan, and Charmaine Tweet. Yes, they're all finishes, but
Charlamagne the God?
Yeah. Who are these people? Big deal. Fight somebody. I mean, this is a giant. And she lost to Cindy Dandois, of all people, okay, before that. And then she got submitted by a triangle. There is nothing there. Beat somebody. Like, this is the girl they're going to put in front of Cyborg? Like, after those wins? I mean, come on. Holly Holm is
not like super skilled or anything.
Holly
man,
Holm went the distance with Cyborg. Went the distance.
It was impressive, man.
And had a couple moments in that fight even.
Yep.
Not a lot, but a couple. I mean, Megan Anderson's not doing that. Yeah, she's big and she has a little bit of power, but she's still raw, definitely, and technical ability is not even on the same planet. So I'll take Holly Holm to do her thing. 3-round fight. I think that really favors Holly. Next up, title fight. 2 title fights left on the card. We got our good friend Rafael Dos Nachos taking on the guy who wants to beat Chael Sonnen more than Chael Sonnen, Colby Covington. Wes, what are your thoughts on this title fight?
Wes's favorite fighter.
Nah, I hate more. I don't want to call it hate, but I dislike some other fighters probably a little more than Colby. But he's right there, man.
He annoys you more.
Yeah, well, it's just look. I get what people say that you got to stick out and stuff, but when people call this like a shtick and it's some act, I don't believe that. I think this is really who he is. I think he is that fucking douchebag. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he is just He's just a complete douchebag. You can just absolutely tell. He tries way too hard, and it just doesn't sell. That doesn't sell to me. When you can tell a guy's trying that hard, it just doesn't sell to me. Now, take that out of it. The guy's good, man. Colby Covington is very, very good at fighting. I just think that he's at a different level here, man. I think he's not. He could be at that level eventually. I just don't think he is yet, man. I went back and watched the Maya fight. I saw a lot of people talking about it, and no, he didn't get like boxed up by Maya like we all kind of thought in the moment. But man, he got smashed up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I can't see him. RDA has some of the best takedown defense the division has seen, in my opinion. I think this is going to end up being a kickboxing match, and I don't think Colby Covington can kickbox with fucking RDA. So, man, RDA at plus money, yeah, sign me up all day long. Colby might get there eventually. He's probably going to get there eventually. I think he fights for more belts. I still think Usman's better. I don't look into like a lot of people are conflating the Maya fight with the two. Usman didn't look great, but I don't think he took anything like Colby took when he fought Maya. But that's another fight for another day. But yeah, this is too much for Colby. RDA in a kickboxing match at plus money against Colby Covington, I'll take that.
Dushan.
I like RDA here. Nothing huge. Just a 1-unit play. I got him at like minus 115. Obviously, the line's got a bit better since then, which is a bit interesting. Maybe people are buying into the Colby Covington hype. I know a lot of wrestling fans and just other people are just absolutely loving him. They think he's over. He only has 33,000 Twitter followers. I think people need to chill the fuck out with how big they think Colby Covington is at this point.
Yeah, like Snowden said, he's barely over with hardcore MMA fans.
Yeah,
You know what
so
I'm saying? Like, the dude's not.
yeah, like whatever. Regardless, he's very good at fighting. His wrestling is elite at 170. RDA, he did get taken down a couple times in the Safadine fight. That kind of scares me a bit. That was his first fight at 170, so maybe I would hope that he's learned a bit and bulked up since then. Because since then he's looked pretty impressive. Robbie Lawler fight was a bit tough, and Robbie kind of hurt his knee pretty early in that fight, so it's tough to gauge that too much. But if Dos Anjos can stuff the takedowns, and that's a fairly big if, because Covington is really good. This is going to be a bad night for Covington. RDA is just so far ahead in the striking game. Like Wes said, Covington got pieced up a bit by Maya. RDA is not Maya. We know that. But Covington does have wrestling, and that's why this isn't a huge play for me. But I definitely got to take somebody with that kind of advantage on the feet against Covington with pretty good takedown defense. So Dos Anjos is the play.
All right, then. I'll keep it quicker. I think both these guys broke it down pretty well. I got Covington an A-, Rafael Dos Anjos an A. Covington really is only a wrestler. I don't care. But people have been trying to claim that his striking has gotten better. It hasn't. It's really not good. He was getting pieced up a bit by Damian Maia at times. Okay, he was getting hit by Damian Maia. All right, let's just get that through our heads. He's got a really good motor. I know there's some talk about Covington getting tired. I don't really see that. I think he's got a really good motor. But that helps when you're dominating guys on the mat. Dos Anjos is going to be a guy who's going to fight you all the way through. Even when Dos Anjos fought Habib, he got taken down, but he fought his way back to his feet. He made Habib work for that fight. This is going to be different because Dos Anjos doesn't even have the striking that Habib does. Dos Anjos is going to be pressing him. He's going to make him work in the clinch. A way better striker on the feet, way more tools. It's a huge advantage for Dos Anjos in this fight, standing, and he's just awesome in 5-round situations. I think those really favor him, and I think that's why he's going to win the title. I think over 3 rounds it's a little more tricky, but over 5 rounds, Dos Anjos is proven to be a really, really talented fighter, and a guy really meant
he's got
for 5
some
rounds.
records. He's getting close to like fights won in the UFC and wins in the division, and could be a 2-time champion or a 2-division champion. There's a lot on the line there's like some history on the line for RDA in this fight.
Outside of Habib, no one's really beating him in terms of outworking him. I guess Nate Diaz. No, was there a fight? No.
What, you talking about RDA? He got knocked out by Eddie Alvarez. That's kind of really the only.
Yeah, but that is not happening here though.
No, you're talking like a longer term, like somebody to beat him over 3 to 5 rounds. Yeah, there's nobody, and I think that is another.
Tony Ferguson was the only one, I guess.
Yeah.
Kobe doesn't have the skills in his strikes to catch RDA with something like that. In my opinion, that's not going to happen. If Kobe wins this fight, it's going to be 5-round grind, in my opinion.
In the last 5 years, RDA has 3 losses. He lost to Habib, Eddie Alvarez, and Tony Ferguson. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. So,
RDA he's top of the food chain, man. There's no doubt.
Yeah, Covington's really going to have to show something because this is by far his toughest fight. I just don't see him being able to do it for 25 minutes. If he gets some takedowns, he can make things interesting early, but once if he's not able to get takedowns throughout the fight, it's going to be a long night for him, or he's going to be put away. I'm hoping, and I think it's going to be RDA who's going to get his hand raised. I think that makes that our consensus. Rafael Dos Anjos, our 5 dimes. Our play is Rafael Dos Anjos plus 110. So our consensus, bet of the week, Rafael dos Anjos plus 110. You can get that over at 5 Dimes. I see at other sites. It's similar price. I think at BetDSI it's just minus 103. Just looking at some of the other places, Greek it's plus 105, Bet Online plus 110. So he is the dog now across the board, which I think most people are surprised at. A week or so ago, he was the favorite. Last fight up, main event, the return of Robert Whittaker after 11-month absence, taking on the Gay Jesus.
YOLO.
Wes. Are we
you.
gonna see something different this fight, or is Robert Whittaker going to continue to be the champion?
Man, this is as good as it gets right here, man. This is pretty much I think why we all still love this sport, man. Is fights like this. Man, I had YOLO last time. I was almost counting my money after like the first or second round. Man, give it to Whittaker, man, for gutting out in that fight. To me, the difference in that fight, I think that he did hurt that leg of Whittaker, and man, he just spammed a lot of takedowns in that fight. I think it got him gassed way harder than he usually does. Man, if YOLO can just switch up a couple things in this fight, man, I think it's very winnable, man. We know the spectacular shit that he can pull off. So there's always that in his bag as well. Just looking at it, from just a value perspective, man. I mean, looking at the first fight that close, you got to take that almost a 2-to-1 shot on YOLO. I believe I got it like at plus 210 or something like that. So yeah, that's where I'm here. I think it goes a little different. If YOLO doesn't make some slight changes though, and he's stuck into having to spam takedowns again, I think that's going to end up bad for him. But we'll see. It's a very close fight. Just a YOLO fan bet, and at 2-to-1, I'll take that YOLO fan bet.
New Sean, thoughts here?
I am on YOLO again, just like Wes. I think this is a fairly close fight. It was a close fight last time. Since then, YOLO has destroyed Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, that's another thing, yeah. Yeah, he actually got another fight in, yeah.
Yeah, he did his crazy things where not much is happening, and then he explodes, and he murders people. As for Whittaker, hasn't fought in a year. Had a crazy slew of illnesses. It wasn't really an injury that put him out. He had like an abscess infection, and then he got a bad case of chicken pox. So I would assume he's all good now. But being out for a year isn't ideal. YOLO's just like he has an it factor that not many in the fight game have. At certain points, he can just do things that no one else can do, and I think he catches Whittaker. I really do. I think it's a close fight. I think both are going to make some changes. I think YOLO just has a little bit more, and at plus 200. I got it at plus 195. I think you got to take a shot. It's such a close fight. You got to take a shot at those kind of odds.
I got Whittaker an A plus. I got YOLO an A. I think it's really difficult. We've seen this throughout MMA history.
YOLO not an A plus?
No, I mean here's the issue.
He lost to.
He lost to Whittaker.
He just
one guy.
But he just beat Rockhold.
Rockhold's now an A minus. Rockhold's got glass chin, man.
That is true.
So hear me out. So very few times in MMA history has an older fighter in a title fight lost the title fight and then come back in the rematch to actually beat the younger fighter.
The problem with that is it's YOLO. He is not.
Yeah, this is a different old guy.
So go ahead.
So the thing with Romero is, and the reason why I can't put him at A+ is that his conditioning is for 5 rounds is just it's just not good. I mean, he is, in terms of a 3-round fight, he's as good as anyone in the world. Maybe he's probably the best, or right at the best, because that's really what he's conditioned for. His last 6 finishes have been in the 3rd round, which is, I think, is the only person in MMA history. I'm saying it's the only person in MMA history who's done that because it doesn't make sense. From a betting perspective, I would just wait until the end of the 3rd round, and if Yoel Romero doesn't finish in the 3rd round, I would just say screw it and bet Whitaker, because I think that's how it would play out. But I mean, Whitaker's hand speed's really good. It's able to keep up with Romero's athleticism. Obviously, he's got a better gas tank, and he's got a pretty decent takedown defense. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
I want to see how Whitaker's cardio hangs up this fight too, though. There's a question there. Like Sean said, he's been through a lot in the past year and hasn't seen the cage.
But
There's
he has
question
shown
mark there.
He does have the confidence. He does have the confidence to have already gotten a victory over Yoel Romero, even with the injury.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just talking thin. We're talking thin margins here. You know what I'm saying? Like
the aura. I think one of Romero's things of why he's been so good is that people are not only afraid of him, but I think he's kind of like a hard guy to prepare for. So Whitaker, having seen him already for 25 minutes, I think gives him even a bigger advantage than fighters who are fighting him for the first time. So I'm going to take Whitaker again by decision. I was looking at the over prop, but it's just not priced decently. It was like plus 140. I was like, this is stupid for over 4.5 rounds in a fight between guys.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Knock you out in a second. Yeah.
But I'll take Whitaker by decision. That's my pick. I think that does it for tonight. There's a little more PFL action for you guys. Check that out. It's been a decent fight card.
Yes,
and we'll be back. I guess we'll be back in 2 weeks for that Singapore card or something. But we'll definitely be talking about this pay-per-view, recapping that one. It should be a pretty exciting night of fights. So take care and good luck on your bets this weekend.